Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto explaining here, bringing you guys another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex discussion. Today, I want to talk to you guys about why Boruto versus Mamushi is a fight we need to take a much closer look at for the future Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, because it stands to be a very interesting subversion of expectations if we're being honest here. Whereas everyone's waiting for Konohamaru versus Matsuri, with Konohamaru, the brand new Riz guy reincarnated, slamming his giant Rasengan ball deep into Matsuri, or Sarada throwing hands with Ryu, and even a potential Damon versus Mamushi or Damon versus Jura battle. I think we should be taking a much different look at why it makes sense for Boruto to make a move on Mamushi later on in the story. The idea of Boruto hunting down Mamushi in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, it aligns with the narrative subversion and strategic brilliance for several reasons. One of which is the fact that Boruto was described previously as being a potential knight for Ada. Though she settled on people like Code and Damon and Kawaki, Boruto was a potential, and that lines up with the narrative having him join in the effort to eventually protect her, because there is incentive because she is a singularity of fate. The narrative subversion is what we have to look at first. First of all, you have fan expectations. The focus is so much on Matsu and Ryu that primes readers to expect confrontations involving them. By targeting Mamushi, who has been underplayed in my opinion, the story introduces a unpredictable and high stakes plot point, adding tension and intrigue, especially because Kashin Koji does want Boruto to stay away from the battlefield where Sarada and Konohamaru currently are. Ada's fear of Mamushi, it underscores his latent danger. The lack of immediate attention to Mamushi, it lulls readers into underestimating his role, making Boruto's choice a twist that redefines his tactical acumen. Boruto's growth is the next thing we have to look at here. So Boruto's decision to either prioritize or be told to prioritize Mamushi, it demonstrates maturity and foresight, especially if Kashin Koji is the one that is guiding him towards it, emphasizing Boruto eventually growing into the role of a future leader with a clear strategic vision, and that would be something expected of a potential Shadow Hokage. Because Ada is someone that is an asset to Konoha, he needs to clear a roadblock for her. By tackling a threat to others, Boruto showcases an understanding of long-term consequences, setting him apart from impulsive protagonists that you normally see in traditional shonen narratives, and Boruto as a character has deviated quite a bit from what you typically expect. The strategic impact also can't be underplayed, because you have to take into account Ada's vulnerability. Ada's singularity of fate, it stems from her Senrigan, for being honest. Mamushi's ability to disrupt her vision neutralizes one of the series' most powerful abilities, posing a unique threat. She can't use this power without Mamushi seeing her, and if Mamushi sees her when she looks on his location in real time, it's implied he can harm her. Removing Mamushi, it empowers Ada and the allied forces, securing a key advantage in the much larger conflict. Boruto's action, it protects their most critical asset in terms of intelligence and foresight, because that's what she serves in terms of a role. Mamushi's isolation is the next thing. Mamushi's solitude right now in that 10 Tails dimension, it makes him an optimal target for a surgical strike. The flying Raijin marker that Boruto used to teleport there, it would be something that ensures Boruto can attack swiftly and retreat if necessary, minimizing attacks. We have no 100% certainty that that marker was not destroyed there. The dimension's significance to the 10 Tails also suggests that Mamushi's elimination could disrupt larger plans, such as reactivating the Shinju's core or launching surprise attacks. Based on everything we've seen, they've always left at least one person in that 10 Tails dimension. You also get the psychological edge. Boruto's proactive strike here, it would demoralize opposing forces by showing that he is willing to take risks to remove even some peripheral threats. It creates a ripple effect in the enemy plans, forcing Jura, Matsuri, Ryu, and Hidari to reconsider their strategies. Assuming that Konohamaru and Sarada and Mitsuki are able to take out Matsuri and Ryu, that would just leave Jura and Hidari there. You also have the symbolism that comes with the Mamushi snake. So you've heard me mention this in passing, but I haven't gone too in detail with it. So I feel like now is the right time to do it. So first we go into the whole temperament and danger. The Mamushi, the Japanese pit viper that Mamushi is patterned after, is a highly venomous snake, and it's known for its ambush tactics. It waits patiently in isolation, striking with precision and lethality, and it's a metaphor for Mamushi's role in the narrative. He just happened to sneak up on Ada when she least expected it using her eye. If left unchecked, the Mamushi snake's venom, it could symbolize the spreading of corruption or destabilization that Mamushi could bring to all of the singularities of fate. Ada is a weak point there, and it makes sense. She is a non-combatant. She does not like to fight. There's no meaning in having power if you hate using it, if you are implied to have a low pain tolerance. It also comes with the pun and the characterization that you have to look at. So the name Mamushi does also hint at his venomous nature and potential to strike unseen. Boruto's choice to confront him, it parallels a predator recognizing and neutralizing an imminent threat before it strikes, which is what you would do with the Mamushi pit viper snake. Then when you get into the Shinto and Buddhism context, it really gets deeper here. So snakes in Japanese mythology, they often represent danger, transformation, and guardianship in Shinto and Buddhist tales. For instance, again, you've heard this before, Yamada no Orochi, a legendary serpent, was slain by Susanoo to save Kushina Hime, showcasing the necessity of removing the serpent to protect a cherished individual. Similarly, Mamushi can symbolize an Orochi-like threat to Ada, whose singularity of fate and her whole entire situation mirrors Kushina Hime's role as a pivotal figure that is worth protecting, which we'll go into in a moment the importance here, because it all goes back to Bug. Just as Orochi had a fascination with Kushina Hime, Bug also has a fascination with Ada. But let's move to the Buddhism aspect first, and then we'll go back to this point here. So in Buddhist teachings, serpents sometimes represent unchecked desires or harmful influences. Destroying the snake reflects overcoming obstacles that hinder enlightenment or harmony. Mamushi's isolation in that Ten Tails dimension, it can symbolize detachment from human concerns, marking him as a lingering spiritual or existential threat. In terms of the Shinto aspect, to go back to that, Mamushi targeting Ada also gets to a larger problem, a narrative symbolism too, which is Bug was the person whose chakra was used to make Mamushi, which makes him an even bigger threat to Ada. Ada's need for protection from Mamushi and Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, it stems from the layered complexity of Mamushi's origins, his symbolism, and the threat that he poses due to Bug's excessive nature. So let's take a look at a breakdown here. So Mamushi's origin and obsessive nature, it comes directly from Bug's chakra. Mamushi being formed from that chakra, it means that he in essence has inherently carried Bug's extreme obsession for Ada, heightened by her charm powers. While Bug displayed his obsession as being very shy and subservient in behavior, Mamushi, it manifests as being aggressive and violent, reflecting a more primal and dangerous side of obsessive love. This transformation symbolizes the dark, uncontrollable side of unreciprocated love, with Mamushi embodying an overwhelming desire to possess or control Ada. You also get into the whole narrative impact of aggression versus subservience. So Bug's weakness and timid nature, it allowed others to manage his obsessive tendencies. In contrast, Mamushi's aggression, it removes any chance for negotiation or containment. He acts decisively and without restraint, making him a far greater threat. His obsession is no longer tied to devotion, but rather domination, making his actions unpredictable and potentially catastrophic for Ada. The symbolism of Mamushi's obsessive love is the next thing we have to look at, and this also is going to build on the pit viper metaphor. So as a snake, Mamushi's venom, it symbolizes toxicity of unchecked love and obsession. His aggressive nature mirrors the pit viper's ability to ambush prey and strike without warning, representing unpredictability towards his actions that we see aimed at Ada. The pit viper's hunting behavior, The stalking in silence before a sudden lethal attack, it parallels Mamushi's danger. He could strike Ada when she is least prepared, and again, the narrative is implying he can touch her when she uses that Sharingan power. The obsessive nature of the double-edged sword in the form of what obsession represents also gets underappreciated here. Ada's charm powers, which made Bug obsessed with her, they come full circle with Mamushi, who weaponizes the same obsessive energy. It highlights the unintended consequences of her abilities. Those who fall for her can become her greatest threats when corrupted. That's the double side to love. Mamushi's very essence underscores that theme of love. When twisted into obsession, it transforms into a destructive force. To use a more pure example for love, when you love people, you give them the power to fill you up and potentially push you to want to do amazing things, but you also give people the power to hurt you. And the same is true when you make someone fall in love with you and you play with their heart. Ada's doing this unintentionally. This is why Ada needs Boruto and Damon. They serve as knights and protectors. Boruto and Damon, to varying degrees, have either been formed in the narrative as being a potential knight for her, or outright declared as a knight like we see with Damon. That symbolically means and literally means protecting her not only from external threats but from dangers that stem from her own powers and their unintended consequences. Boruto's calm judgment and strategic mind state paired with Damon's overwhelming strength form the perfect balance to counter Mamushi's aggression and unpredictability. Mamushi's unique threat is the next thing you have to look at. So Mamushi's aggression and venomous nature, it makes him a foe who requires both physical power and strategic planning to defeat. While Damon's strength can counter Mamushi's brute force, Boruto's grooming for leadership to take up the Shadow Hokage role and the flying Raijin technique, it ensures that the battle is incredibly precise and minimizes collateral damage. Ada's fear of Mamushi is going to disable her from using her Sharingan powers in an effective way, further necessitating Boruto and Damon potentially having to work together. Without her foresight, Ada is especially vulnerable to a surprise attack. Again, it's implied Mamushi might be able to do something to her when they're in that shared space when she uses her Sharingan. Protecting Ada's role as a singularity of fate is something that Kashin Koji is going to have interest in. Mamushi's potential impact here is huge. If Mamushi can harm or manipulate Ada, the balance of power is going to shift drastically. Ada's role as a singularity of fate, able to see the past and the present, it is critical to the resistance against the Ten-tailed forces that Jura is assembling. By ensuring her safety, Boruto not only protects a key ally, but also preserves the timeline stability they're trying to form, as Ada's abilities are intrinsically tied to guiding the course of the events themselves. The emotional stakes are also huge. Ada's reliance on Boruto or Damon, it reinforces their bond as a makeshift alliance, if you will. This dynamic adds an emotional depth to the conflict, showcasing that Ada is not just a powerful figure, but also someone who might have genuine support in the form of Boruto and Damon. She already has it from Damon because that's her younger brother, but Boruto would be a genuine connection she makes, and she has shown interest in wanting to get closer to Boruto. The Shinto and Buddhism context for obsession and snakes is the next thing. So when you look at Shinto mythology, again, snakes often represent unchecked emotions or desires that must be overcome for harmony to be restored. For instance, when you get deeper into the whole Susanoo versus Yamada no Orochi to save Kushina Hime, it symbolizes the destruction of obsessive forces to protect purity and balance. The Buddhism parallel also comes down to obsessive love. Tana, as it's said in Buddhism, is seen as a form of attachment that leads to suffering. Mamushi's obsession, derived from Bug's infatuation, reflects this concept. Defeating Mamushi aligns with the Buddhist goal of overcoming harmful attachments to restore peace. The strategic and narrative payoff is also next. So the strategic advantage comes from the fact that you would eliminate Mamushi, a wild card who could threaten Ada and destabilize what Kashin Koji is trying to do. It ensures Ada remaining safe and functional as a singularity of fate, crucial for planning future moves. Kashin Koji needs her to be able to use her powers without fear. Boruto and Damon's successful defense of Ada, it reinforces their roles as protectors, ensuing the enemy cannot exploit their vulnerability, because again, Ada's a weak link. The narrative development also comes from Boruto's choice to confront Mamushi. It's going to deepen his role as a tactician and as a protector, while Damon's involvement highlights his familiar bond with Ada. The battle against Mamushi could serve as a microcosm of a series of broader themes: the dangers of unchecked power, the complexity of love, and the necessity of unity in overcoming shared threat. There's also more benefits that would come from Boruto confronting Mamushi. The strategic advantage also comes from removing what could be a good asset for Jura, Ada being able to use the Sumire unchecked, allowing them to counteract Jura and Hidari, assuming that Konohamaru and Sarada are able to handle their business. The character development for Boruto's there because it's going to show him taking steps towards truly being able to take Sasuke's will of fire, be the Shadow Hokage, and his willingness to face Mamushi potentially alone. It reflects his confidence in his abilities and his commitment to protecting others, including Ada. The narrative stakes also rise when you look at Mamushi's defeat. It can serve as a turning point in the battle against Jura, reinforcing Boruto's role as the story's protagonist and a strategic mind, especially if all this goes down while Boruto knows that Jura's inside of Konoha, having a wine tasting at a book club meeting or something like that, because we know the guy loves to read his books. Boruto targeting Mamushi is the perfect subversion of expectations. It is a masterstroke in strategy, emphasizing his development, reinforcing his tactical brilliance, and tying the narrative to a powerful mythological and symbolic theme. Well, that's gonna be it for this video. Don't forget to check out more videos here from Naruto Explained by clicking here on the left, or click over here on the right for this new video from my Anime Explained channel where I discuss non-Naruto content.